That's boy me.
Welcome in everybody to a new live edition of the Wisemen Say podcast. Ty Fisher alongside Derik Abbott. Gerald Lucas is unavailable for this evening. But if you guys would ever be so kind, send him some loving messages his way. Let him know that he is appreciated and valued here on the show and whatnot. So, Gerald, my friend, if you are watching, love you, buddy. Hope all is well with you.
Yeah.
Derik, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. Sticky and sweaty, but you know what? I'm not going to complain about that because it has not rained in a few days, and I was complaining about that previously. So we're in the throngs of Ohio summer now, or hopefully. So now it's just like getting accustomed to this new, just warm, hot, humid, sticky, which inevitably in a month I'll be like very happy with. So I cannot complain.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think was it today was relatively hot. Yesterday was okay, I guess, but it was still hot. And then
Right.
Monday was when lots of rain was happening. And
oh yeah,
dude,
it was one of those classic it's so warm in Columbus, but then all of a sudden you get that like pop-up shower and then randomly like thunder. I don't know if it lightninged, but I could hear the thunder and I was like, oh wow, okay.
Yeah. I think it was when I was leaving work Saturday, and I think there was like some heat lightning, but that's about it.
We're in heat lightning season for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Not too much on the show tonight. Obviously, me and you were just talking before we popped in. A couple things to talk about. Tristan Brown signing a homegrown deal with the Columbus Crew. And then we have the preview for Saturday, essentially. So, without further ado, I think we might as well just get right into it, right? Tristan Brown signing the homegrown deal with the Columbus Crew through 2028 with club options for 2029, 2030. I like the signing. Of course, that would also mean that there's probably more offers coming in for, say, Max Arfston, since there was that one that Columbus turned down the deal from Toulouse. So maybe there's more offers that are happening that we just don't know about. But signing Tristan Brown is definitely a huge plus for the Columbus Crew.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the proverbial writings on the wall when it comes to Max, where it may not happen this year or even the summer window. Hopefully not the summer window, just because I feel like we're thin in that position to begin with, which I think is why getting Tristan signed to the first team was a good deal to do, and having him signed, more or less through 2030 is great, because if it pans out really well, it's fantastic. But yeah, I definitely think Max has proven himself to be quite the hot commodity out there. And, that might have been maybe the first like public offer we had heard about, but it certainly is not going to be the last. And especially as the summer transfer window heats up, I don't think that it'll be those types of rumors are not things that we're going to be able to just wish away. I think we're going to at least hear about them.
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't make a move on that maybe in the winter if they decide to go that direction, but at least for now I really hope they don't.
Yeah, and I also think with the way Tristan Brown has played for Columbus Crew too, I think it brings a little bit more of a flavor profile to that wingback spot. Max and Mo obviously have their skill technique, but to have a young guy in Tristan Brown have that same caliber of skill set that both Max and Mo both have, but just a younger version even of them, because he's pretty fast. I don't know if you've seen
Mhm.
any highlights of him, but he
Yeah,
is
yeah.
very fast.
And that seems to be the profile that Nancy looks for on those wings in a lot of cases. When I think to some of the other players that played in that role years prior, I think he really looks for, obviously you have to have the technical skill, but that speed element is definitely a part of kind of the game plan overall. And I think that it almost, I think that we would be, it wouldn't be shocked to see him. I don't know about this week, depending on how Vancouver plays against us. Like if it's a tight game, maybe not as much. But I think sooner rather than later, I would not be shocked to see him coming off the bench, or if the schedule, because eventually it's going to get congested again. I just don't remember off the top of my head like when it does, but when it does, I wouldn't be shocked to see him at least for a half, like in a starting role either, because I think they're going to want to see what they have with him sooner rather than later. In this first team, I should say. They obviously
Yeah.
got with them with the next pro team.
Started with the Crew Academy in August 22 at the U15 level. After spending time with the Michigan Wolves, which is a Crew network club. Joined Crew 2 on an amateur agreement at the start of the 2024 season before signing his MLS Next Pro contract in August. Appeared in 20 matches, 16 of those being starts, helping Crew 2 reach their third consecutive Eastern Conference final. He was then selected to participate in the MLS Next All-Star Game, hosted at Historic Crew Stadium. In 2023, Brown contributed in 2 Crew 2 matches, including his first start for 71 minutes in a 4-0 win over FC Cincinnati 2. And then he made his Crew MLS debut on March 22nd at 17 years, 5 months, and 3 days with the first team after entering in a 73rd minute and helping preserve the shutout in a 0-0 draw against New York City. Made a second MLS appearance as an 80th minute sub during the 1-1 road draw at Montreal on May 14th. So needless to say, it sounds like this young man is definitely in it for the long haul. From Novi, Michigan. He's also participated in 2 U17 U.S. Youth National Camps in 2023 in Portland and 2024 in West Palm Beach. Brown joins Taha, Stanislav Lapkus, Cole Maraca, and Sean Zawadzki as the 5 Crew Academy players on the current roster. So lots of Crew products on this roster, essentially. Does that just show the investment that Wilfred Nancy and the management have in just the academy and the youth itself?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, once I cannot believe I'm blanking on his name. Who was our previous GM? I cannot believe I'm blanking on this. The heat has gotten to me.
Tim Bezbachenko.
Bezbachenko. Okay, I'm like, how it was at the top of my head. When Bez got here, he clearly was doing an overhaul of the academy and putting a lot more emphasis on it. I think that's why we have seen so many quality players, and obviously not everyone's going to pan out, but way more, in my opinion, quality players coming up and through this system. Whereas anytime prior to that, of course, we had some that really turned into great players for us, but not nearly as many notable ones that I think people could name as, contributing in any kind of consistent or memorable way.
Yeah.
And also ones that had like longevity or stuck around on the first team. So it's refreshing to see that we've had previous ones in the past few years. We're getting more. I've got 5 now on this first team roster. And I think, yeah, it just goes to show the investment of it. I mean, now they just brought back Brian Bliss to be like the academy director, I think, or something along those lines. So, like, clearly they're not only really focusing on the academy, but trying to bring in people who are also instilling, the club, the whole idea of the club, Columbus, the history of everything. And I think that really helps because you don't necessarily get homegrowns who just come in and it's strictly for the play side of things. And then, they jettison off to somewhere else. You get a lot of them that feel like they stick around, and it does we grow a little more attached to them because we know that they have kind of that passion and everything. And I think in its core, and this goes all the, I don't know, we're not going to necessarily dive into, but this goes all the way up to like a U.S. national team where you get players in who really want to play for the club. They have all this history and everything kind of instilled or ingrained in them since early on, where it's, prestigious thing to play for it too. So, you're going to get the best out of them and everybody in the academy as well. So I think it's that, personally.
Moving on, I think now we get into just our biggest topic of the show, right? It's this weekend against Vancouver Whitecaps, the top team in MLS and the Western Conference, essentially. But let's just kind of address the biggest elephant in the room. I think we touched on it in our mid-season review, which I apologize, I forgot to edit because I was so busy working. The Vancouver Whitecaps got sick.
Oh yeah, it was only a matter of time, right? I mean, truly.
After they got back from Mexico in the CONCACAF Champions Cup final, they even had, as we talked about it, even had a cook and a nutritionist down there before they even got there to make sure everything was good. So it's not just us that
that and I mean, you saw like you were talking about the performance last week in the game, and obviously even just if you didn't see it, you look at the result and you're like, man, you wouldn't think that an MLS team who they're leading in their division as well, so it's not like it's somebody who got into it and they're kind of not very good in the league, but they happen to make their way through that tournament and then they get kind of blown out. It's a very quality team. And so it makes me kind of wonder, were they already kind of sick? Maybe we just didn't know a lot about it. Or maybe they were kind of early onset of being sick even. Not to say that is necessarily the case, but I do have a question, and maybe you know the answer to it, maybe not, but maybe it's just the schematics of how the tournament has shaken out. But why would in the last 2 years was the game played down there? And kind of a question off of that is I'm wondering if now that that's happened twice, if they're starting to look at, does that need to be moved, frankly, like the finals? Like, I know that they don't, if you don't want it to be, if the other team that's in it, who's maybe better, let's say it's Leon or somebody, maybe they win, but maybe you have it a neutral site to give them a more of a closer to a home advantage versus putting it at the MLS team stadium. But I don't know. I mean, just it's happened twice now on the final where they go down, the US team or the MLS team goes down there and then it is bad. They all get sick. I mean, I don't know. That's like, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure Manuel hit it right on the head. It's based on the seeding and the CONCACAF rankings, right? Because, for example, if I think at the time when Columbus was the one team that was guaranteed a spot in the final, we were waiting on the final between, I think it was Pachuca and Club America, I think it was. Columbus needed Club America to win.
And then we would have hosted.
Okay. We needed Club America to win in a penalty kick shootout, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Somehow, some way, because of I think it was like goal differential or something like that.
Oh my goodness.
We needed Club America to win in a penalty kick shootout because of goal differential. And then we would have hosted, but instead, because Pachuca won, Pachuca was higher than Columbus in the seeding at the time. Yep. So, because Pachuca was higher at the time of at qualification, Pachuca hosted the final. But essentially, Vancouver is coming into this match absolutely pissed off, right? After being embarrassed down in Mexico. So I think a couple questions here for you. One, what is it about? I don't know how much Vancouver you've watched so far this year.
More so highlights. I haven't watched like a full game or anything like that.
What do you think will be the biggest problem, albeit Brian White, to the crew? What's going to be the biggest problem that Vancouver could pose to the crew?
Yeah, I mean, I think for that one, just coming in with the mentality of being pissed off. I think anytime you have teams like that, albeit they need to be disciplined still, but Vancouver's shown throughout the first half of the season they're a very disciplined team, or else they wouldn't be in the position that they're in, of course. Um, but I think too, and I'm sure we'll touch on it, but I think regardless of how they approach it, and I don't even know if that it comes down to any one individual player that I'm
Mhm.
necessarily super concerned about. It's not like I don't even know, name another team and start one star player on the team or something like that. But I think that our injuries that are now starting to mount up a little bit, I think, for them, they just need to come out in the same form with an angry mentality and target where, I don't necessarily, I don't think any player is necessarily a weak player per se, but like target our weaknesses because we have injuries, people who typically would start on the bench, whoever that
Yeah.
may be, like targeting those specific areas with a game plan. And I mean, on that side of it for them, I think I would be concerned. And provided they're all healthy, depending on how long it's taken them to get back from that, I think it's more of just the overall team I'm more concerned about than any one particular player, at least from what I've seen from them. I mean, I think they seem like a very well put together team. um, I think in all facets of the game, they seem to be playing really well. um, and I think they, in their form, it seems like they have certainly unlocked something with themselves, kind of like what we saw with Nancy. Now, of course, we don't know if that's sustainable or anything like that, but um, I think that they're going to want to come out attacking, is my guess. And I think that what Manuel said here, he predicts a slow pace game. I think we will, in my opinion, what I think we'll do is probably try to dictate a lot and slow that game down, even though we typically don't necessarily always play like that, but more of the possession side. We're going to want the possession even more than what we typically do to try to change that momentum early and often.
I think also the thing with this is that you mentioned it just a couple minutes ago. We're starting to see injuries pile up,
Hmm.
right? We're starting to see, and we'll get or I'll get the updated injury report Friday about 5 o'clock.
Hmm.
But um, we're starting to see injuries pile up. So now we're getting into that point in time where, and this kind of triggered my memory when I saw the Tristan Brown signing, is that we're starting to now kind of dig into the barrel a little bit to try and see what we can get.
Yeah.
If the Crew end up, I mean, I doubt they have already, but we're getting to that point in time where last season, remember we were denied that roster
Oh,
loan spot
how
when
could
we,
we forget?
yeah, against Seattle, because we had too many games and stuff like that. But I think with Vancouver on the rise, I think signing Tristan to a first team contract was good, so that way we don't have to use another loan for him. We can kind of save it when we need it. Um, but the injuries are piling up now. We're starting to see players that started who are now on the bench kind of get those minutes back,
Hmm.
right? And it's kind of a roller coaster, right? We haven't seen Amundsen a lot this season after
Yeah.
he was starting in 2023.
And I
Uh,
think I could be wrong, but I thought I saw that he got injured in Miami, right? Was
yeah,
he
yeah,
the one?
Amundsen, yeah.
Yes. So I thought I saw from the report this morning that he's out like 2 to 4 weeks,
See,
which is
see,
brutal.
yeah. I know we had saw Shaburko starting,
Hmm.
then he kind of got put to the bench. Right now, he's starting to come back he's starting to come back and start. Obviously, I haven't seen anything on Zawatsky. We know Patrick's out a couple more weeks.
Hmm.
And if the math is right, Shaltu will be back against Seattle, hopefully.
Right.
Um,
You'll be there to give us firsthand.
yeah. Who else? I mean, we're missing a ton of players, but it's the mentality is always next man up,
Hmm.
right? But when will the next man up be next up, if that makes sense, right?
Right.
Because if we're still at Rudy Camacho for the rest of the season,
He's on a milk carton at this point. We've got missing posters everywhere on him because, like, I
yeah,
saw a report that he was like training off to the side, and I'm like, okay, are we sure it was even him? Like at this point, I'm not necessarily convinced. And
yeah,
again, I, who knows?
it's going to be next man up, next man up. But when is the next man going to be up,
Hmm.
right? Because we're we're going to need these guys to kind of get that cohesion back a little bit within each other because
Yeah.
we're used to seeing Max, Mo, Yevon, Sean, Steven, Dylan, Darlington, was it Daniel, Jason, Diego. But
Hmm.
now that we're starting to implement, I think we're starting to implement more Sadich, Lapalainen. We're starting to see Ruvalcaba come in a little bit more. Maybe not as off, maybe not a lot, but here and there. I think he came in. Who did we play before the break? Was it Miami or was it Nashville?
Nashville was on the Wednesday. Miami was on the Saturday.
Okay, so we're starting to see Ruvalcaba, come in here and there a little bit. Um,
Which I think
yeah,
he's actually been pretty good when he's been in
I
there.
think he has too, but I think the cohesion just needs to stay within the entire team and not just who the guys are familiar with on the field.
Yeah, that's a really good point because
Yeah.
I mean, we've mentioned it for weeks now. We're rotating in so many guys, and at one point, I think we were all agreeing that like there it does feel a little bit of miss. We're rotating so much that like there's not a set kind of comfortability amongst everybody who is on the field at any given time. But you're right. Also, like you guys are professionals. We have a system. We need everyone to have the same level of confidence to be able to fill in those roles and fit right in.
Hmm.
And I'm hoping at least that, like you were saying, that they now get this time to go in and kind of show everybody what they can do. Um, and I think we've harped on it for a while now, but that front line in particular, if there was ever a time, those front three, depending on who, if Jason Russell is going to get a start or not, I still think he should be out there starting most likely. Not most likely. I think he should be starting. Who knows if he'll actually start? But um, I think if those guys are remaining healthy, then at least amongst the 3 to 4 of them, get into a really good rhythm. That will certainly help you dig yourself out of these injuries in some of these other positions that we're seeing so far.
Vancouver, on the other hand, as we mentioned, Brian White, it's getting to it's kind of uncharted waters for Vancouver, but they're taking it very well, being first in the West and first in the supporter shield. With Jesper Sorensen at the helm of Vancouver, are you kind of surprised that the Vancouver Whitecaps are this good, or um is this just kind of like a what's it called? A one-off type thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Um,
Vancouver's normally never this good,
no. I was gonna
right?
say I was surprised, like I don't know, fourth of the way through the season, even to see that they
Yeah.
were at the top. And I think the past few years, and this is probably more of a personal opinion. I'm sure people would want to debate on it, but I feel like the East has been much stronger on the top end than the West. There's a lot of shuffling that's been going on. Even so, you've got the Galaxy who can't, buy a win at this point. You've got some of these other teams that have been stalwarts that are not leading on that side. It's the fact you have Vancouver and not like a Seattle or a Portland or LAFC, some of these teams that have always been kind of at the top is wild to me. I don't think Vancouver, at least, and they've never stood out to me as like a team that was on the rise necessarily. And that's good on them. Obviously, they've done a good job in the offseason of getting to that point. But I still think like I don't know, half a season is not necessarily enough of a litmus to feel like a team is there to stay per se. And I don't want to like discredit them. Like again, they've done a really good job and everything. I think the jury's still out, maybe a
Yeah.
little bit on that. And I'm sure people probably felt that way about us at one point or another when we um, got Nancy and won the championship, and then have consistently kind of been up there. But I think for a team like that, it is kind of uncharted waters. Like you don't really know what to think. I think it could be equal parts, 50-50, where they're now here to stay, or at least can be sustainable in that kind of top echelon. And at the other side, like we've seen teams get really hot and then fall right off. Like I think a few years ago, Austin FC came in and was like on fire. And then the past few years, not so much for our
Yeah.
brethren down the south. I mean, it's not been nearly as good. So, I mean, I could see either way of it, but it is pretty crazy, quite honestly, to think that they're up here and they're beating some of these teams like handedly in some cases. It's not like they're squeaking out victories and getting ties. Like in some cases, they're beating them like a fairly good margin for soccer, in soccer terms. Um, so, again, I don't even think of them necessarily as having, it's not like they went out and got like some mega superstar for 20 million, $30 million in a transfer fee.
Yeah.
They're building it all in house. I'm actually surprised that maybe, at least from what I've seen, that like the MLS media is not necessarily talking about them as much. Like they're doing a really good job of flying under the radar for being as good as they are right now. I always appreciate that. Like I always want my teams to be good enough, but not necessarily be like talked about nonstop. So I think that's a good thing for them, especially with kind of what they're building up over there.
Couple of things to talk about with head to head. The 12th MLS meeting between the Caps and the Crew. It is the Vancouver's fourth time playing an Eastern Conference opponent in MLS play this season. Vancouver versus Columbus, 5 wins, 3 losses, 3 draws.
Wow.
That right. You would think that.
I would have never guessed that actually. I
Yep.
don't remember those games,
Yep.
honestly.
When at home, Vancouver is 1 win, 1 loss, 3 draws. 7 goals for, 7 goals against. Goals against, I should say. Road games, Vancouver is 4 wins, 2 losses, 0 draws, 8 goals for, 8 goals against. Columbus, very good at home. And Vancouver has yet to lose on the road this season.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really tough to do in MLS. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Last meeting, 2022, Columbus 4, Vancouver nothing. Goals from Miguel Berry, Derek Etienne Jr., Luis Diaz, and obviously our lovely number 10, Lucas Zelarayan.
All players of Crew past.
Yep. All players of Crew Pass. But I'm interested to know, what can Columbus do to sneak out a win and end the 6-game winless streak?
Yeah, it's still kind of wild to think, right? Six game winless streak is pretty wild. Well, one, it'll be 6-1-4 day, so we've got the juju on our side there. But I think, again, that we have to make them play at our pace. Whatever they decide that pace is going to be. If truly, I think if we're getting a lot of these players that typically are on the bench are going to be starting in a lot of cases, or not getting as much playing time, I should say. I think that it would probably be better for us to not just come out guns a-blazing. I mean, who's going to say no to that? If we do and we're scoring goals, I mean, everyone's going to be happy with it. But I think in order to get everybody like the nerves calmed a little bit, perhaps, to be able to get everyone kind of into the rhythm of the game. And I think you want to have ball possession, as we typically do. You want them to play at your style. Admittedly, I don't know as much about what their usual preferred style of play is, but I think make them meet you at where you want them to play at.
Yeah.
And take advantage of, and if I don't know. I say that all this, but then I'm thinking like, I don't know, it's gonna be hot and muggy, and maybe those are things you could take advantage of. They've done a lot of traveling recently, like they may
Yeah.
be a little more tired. So I guess I'm kind of like completely countering my own point that I was just saying there. But like, I guess I think you could go two different ways on it. I still think it coming out a little bit slower and trying to get them to play at your pace um, would be definitely a good thing to do for some of the younger or less, minutes, played individuals who are coming off the bench. But um, I think really if you can get the cohesion going with the attack, I mean, I think now this is a type of game that we've kind of run through that gauntlet we talked about, right? In May, and not necessarily all the results we would like, but overall we're through it. So this is kind of, I would say, maybe like the tail end of that, just because they are a really good team. It's maybe not one that we initially were discussing a lot about, but we have had time off too. So we have had ability to get some of these players, one, rested, and two, give them more of a chance to practice and that type of thing. So I think do what you can to get through the game.
Yeah.
And honestly, when you were telling me the stats, like they've scored 7, given up 7, scored 8, given up 8. Like it has all the makings of like, if you want to play at their level and you are comfortable with the idea of a tie, like it's right there based upon how they play, at least how the outcomes of some of their games have been from an overall standpoint.
Yep.
So I think could go a lot of different. I think the wild card is just how many new players we're going to see out there in the starting 11 that we typically don't, or at least playing together. Because I think there's going to be a few of them that you just typically don't see playing with each other. Maybe we'll unlock something. That would be nice to see.
Manuel says Gegenpress style for Vancouver, but do they try what Miami did and beat our high line? I say yes, because somehow, some way, our high line is never in sync with one another.
No,
It's always something that goes wrong.
Yeah.
And good.
I mean, yeah, I think you're spot on. Hopefully that's something that they're working on a little bit. I think the Miami is a perfect game tape. And I think I mentioned this maybe last week when we were doing the review of what other teams are probably going to try to mimic. So I hope that we either use that as kind of this is what not to do for us, or maybe they change their approach a little bit. And it
Yeah.
didn't have to be like changing the system, obviously, or changing anything too drastically, but like just little tweaks here and there to kind of catch teams maybe a little bit off guard from what they're expecting to see from us based on that Miami tape, which that was a systematic way to break us down.
By the way, in case anybody has not done it yet, All-Star voting for the 2025 MLS All-Star Game ends at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. So make sure you guys go over to mlssoccer.com/all-star to cast your vote for any and all All-Stars from the crew. I'll tell you right now, I don't think there's one crew player that is winning their starting position for it. So
I think Nagby was like 4th in his, and he might have been the highest one I saw on there. There was someone else. I don't remember who the other person was.
I think Mo and Max were also 3rd for their respective.
Oh, okay. I missed that, but I got a quick question, and maybe this is more for a general audience, like people in the chat too. I know I've seen in the past. I don't necessarily have a strong opinion. I'm just curious. What's everyone's opinion on our players playing in the All-Star game? Because I know I've seen in years past, a lot of people are kind of like, it's kind of okay if we don't have our guys playing it because we don't really want them injured and all of that. Now, obviously, when it was here, we wanted as many of them as we could, because we were going to go and check it out and all of that. But I'm always just curious about that, because I find in like every sport, it gets a little bit different in terms of like, what's the prestige level, for some. And I just feel like in All-Star games, you get kind of, everybody feels a little bit different about each sport and what theirs is. And I'm always intrigued by MLS's, because some people really want to see like Messi and all them playing it, and they're obviously going to get a lot of votes. And then I feel like the crew fandom as a whole, if we really rallied around voting for some of our guys to get in. I have no doubt that they would get in, but a lot of times I think that perhaps there's some people that are like, I really don't know that I want them playing. I'd rather give them the rest time than to play in a meaningless game, for lack of a better way to put it. Not to say I don't want to see our guys playing it. Like, I think that's
Right.
certainly a really cool thing. Like, I'm not putting that out there, but I could see the argument that getting in the rest might be a better thing, but it probably all depends on like where you're at in the table as well.
I think me personally, I think it's a good recognition
Mm-hmm.
for our guys, right? I think it'd be different. I think the opinions would be different based on who the crew play afterwards, right?
Oh, good point. Yeah.
At least for me. Like, for example, if the crew were to play FC Cincinnati in Cincinnati after the All-Star game,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want them to be in the All-Star game. Right. If anything, if they're going to be in the All-Star game, they'll get the last 10 minutes of the game to where
Right. It's already kind of over.
Yeah, it's already kind of over.
Necessarily, but yeah.
They have a slight risk of getting injured very badly.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's also Liga MX All-Stars. So we all know how MLS versus Liga MX goes. It gets very CONCACAF-y, as my buddy says, a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it's like I think playing in the All-Star game is a great privilege, a great honor to kind of represent the club on a more wider scale than it is just with the market that, Columbus and the team that Columbus is playing.
Highlights the player too, for sure. Like, let's say if someone like Mo Farsi got or Max Arfson, like that's a player that like we know really well, but I'm sure half the fans in the league, if not more, probably don't really know much about them and have maybe only heard them talked about very, very briefly on the grander stage of things. And so them getting in there not only I'm sure they would be really excited about it.
Yeah.
We would be really excited about, but then it would help elevate their names, which ultimately a lot of these players, their ultimate goal, I hate to say it, but like it's not necessarily just to retire with the Columbus Crew. In a lot of cases, especially younger ones, they want to get to even bigger stages and play for their national teams and those types of things. So that getting to something like that is certainly a stepping stone to getting to an ultimate goal of theirs, whatever that end goal might be.
Not gonna lie, I think for my positions that I voted for, because I had a special ballot, right? Because I'm media.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think 4 of my 11 were Vancouver players.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I love that.
Brian White, Sebastian Berhalter, Yohei Takaoka, and I think Tristan Blackman.
Completely forgot.
Yep.
That Sebastian Berhalter was playing for them.
Yep.
Like I knew that, but then like is he still injured? Is he still out? Because he didn't get to, or no, he wasn't injured. He got the red card, right?
Yeah, he got a yellow card in the semifinal. It was made him miss the final for CONCACAF.
Okay.
Yep.
Now I'm like, so one, I'm curious, is he going to be at that same form, having some time off a little bit? I wonder if he went down with the team and got sick also, to be honest.
No, ironically, no, he's fine.
Was he allowed to go down with the team even with the red card? Or did
he was down there.
Okay. So that's wild. Oh, Manuel said he played for the U.S. men's national team. I got to be honest, I did not know that game was on. Was that last night? And then
you didn't miss much.
Oh, I tuned in late. My brother actually texted me about it and was like, "Are you watching this?" And I was like, "You know what? Completely forgot it was on. Put it on." Awful. Obviously, we could go into a whole rant about that, but he's been playing really good. Obviously, former Crew player. So you love him, but you kind of hate to see it that he's doing it somewhere else and not with us.
Yeah.
But he's definitely a bit of an X factor if he's playing in that form he was. Because he kind of came out of nowhere, in my opinion. I mean, this season, I don't know that. But before this, he was at Austin, right? Was he still down there at that point?
No, I think he's been in Vancouver like the last year or two.
Okay. But I mean, he was not on a lot of people's radar in terms of like as well as he's been playing. That'll be interesting. Also, just like how the fans receive him. Like, I don't think he necessarily left negatively, if I remember. I think it was just like he wasn't really playing as well as we would like him to, wasn't seeing a lot of minutes, and it made sense for him to go, play elsewhere. But I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot about because he got the red cards and didn't play in that final,
Yeah,
and then for some reason just like left my brain. Um, but yeah, like now that you're mentioning some of these others, like now it's all like I've seen the highlights and stuff of them. Um, so yeah, I mean, again, circling back to it, they're a very cohesive unit, and like you said, you voted for 4 of them on your All-Star ballot. Obviously,
yeah.
they're very good.
Acquired via trade from the Columbus Crew. Um, I don't know if that's April 2nd or February 4th of 2022. Um, I spent the 2021 season on loan with Austin FC.
Oh, we loaned him there. That's right.
Yeah, and then signed a contract extension through 2025 with the club option of 2026 and 2023. So we traded him. Vancouver sent him on loan, then recalled him, and now he's been on a tear ever since.
Oh, wait. So we traded him to Vancouver and then they immediately loaned him to Austin?
Berhalter joined the Caps via trade from the Columbus Crew. The youngster spent the 2021 season on loan to fellow Western Conference side Austin FC, where he made 5 starts and 18 appearances. In 2023, Berhalter signed a contract extension through 2025 with an option for 2026. And this is coming straight from the media guide, the resource guide from Vancouver.
How often do we see trades or loans within a conference even?
Let's ask the bigger question. How many players have the Columbus Crew either sent to Austin FC
Oh, dude.
or have left Columbus from free
immediately went
agency
there?
and then go to Austin? Giassi Zardes, Ethan Finley, Sebastian Berhalter, Hector Jimenez, Brad Stuver.
Oh, that one still. No, who was the other one? Brad Stuver. Was he the one that was killing it for us on the cup run?
No.
Who was the other one?
Stuver barely even played, I
Tarbell.
think. Andrew Tarbell.
Tarbell, I wanted us to keep, and we didn't, and I don't even know how that turned out. But
yeah,
I was probably totally wrong on it. But
Tarbell, he plays for Houston now.
Okay, I do remember that.
Yeah, but yeah, he was with Austin for a little bit. I can't think of anybody else, but yeah, 6 players from the Columbus Crew. Somehow,
no, I don't want to make any assumptions, but it does kind of make you wonder why everyone was like totally down after all the Save the Crew stuff. Like why some of these players were like, I get it, you want to play for a team, but man, where's the loyalty a little bit?
Can it be anybody else?
Right. Like, is there anybody who's interested? Maybe they just offered them the most money. I mean, who knows? But I'm glad you brought that up because there's definitely been like a very noticeable amount of people to that team versus probably any other, at least in recent memory.
Yeah. I can't think of anything. I know there is another Crew Whitecaps connection, and that's Evan Bush.
Oh, yeah.
Evan Bush was with Vancouver for a little minute before he went to Montreal.
That's so wild. Is there anyone else who's on Vancouver who used to play for the Crew offhand, or is it just Berhalter?
Hang on, I can tell you because they have a whole thing right here. Actually,
sometimes there's like a sneaky name that you don't remember, and then all of a sudden someone says it, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I did not even know that they were still in the league, let alone on the team we're now playing."
Yeah. I only see. Hang on, my mouse is a little bit dusty, and it's starting to. There we go. So the only thing I see is connections with Columbus Crew. Former Caps player, goalkeeper Evan Bush in 2020. Former Crew player, Caps midfielder Sebastian Berhalter in 2020 to 2021. Former teammates, Caps defender Tristan Blackman with Crew forward Diego Rossi at LAFC. Caps forward Jaden Nelson and midfielder Ralph Priso with Crew forward Jason Russell Rowe at Toronto FC 2 and in the Toronto FC Academy.
Oh, so there's a lot of people who know each other.
Yeah.
Surprisingly. Okay. I always get really interested in those just to see how like the play goes overall. And I know it really probably means nothing, but like,
Yeah.
you never know.
Yeah. Ironically enough, though, Vancouver is 3-0-3 when playing on grass.
Interesting. So they don't. Do they play on turf at home?
They play on turf at BC Place. Yeah.
Was that the former like an Olympic stadium? Is that the right one I'm thinking
Nah,
of?
you're thinking of Montreal.
Montreal. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's just the one that's like the oval and it's outside, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Vancouver is BC Place, and they have a roof. Theirs was also the first MLS stadium to be in a FIFA video game in 2016.
That's a wild stat.
I think it was.
How do you even know that? Is that like in the guide?
I've played FIFA for a long time.
That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
What made them put it in there, I wonder?
What's that?
What made him put that in there?
I honestly don't know, but that's like something that's kind of gone untalked about in the FIFA because everybody's like, oh, put lower.com in here. Put
Old
put
Crew Stadium.
TQL, put everybody in. No, Seattle's the first team to have soccer, their soccer stadium. No, it's BC Place in Vancouver.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's like one of the stats if you ever went to like MLS trivia, which like if you do, we got a lot more questions for you on why you would ever do that. But if you went to MLS trivia night, that might win you the whole thing. Quite honestly.
They have they have a lot of situational records in their thing. They are
anything playing like in 85-degree heat in the summer. Maybe it rains, which actually make it worse because it'll just be sticky. Now look at me. I'm like trying to pull up a weather report here. Saturday, 85% chance of rain, roughly 80-degree high. If it rains,
nope.
It's not real. 85% chance, but then it's like actually 20. So you know how that all works.
They are, however, 0-3 when having full rest of 6 days or more on the road.
Ooh. Okay. That falls in our favor, right? We hit that category for sure.
Win, loss, tie. So they have three draws on the road after having a full rest week of 6 days or more.
Does it say what the outcomes of those games were goal wise? Like 3-3, 2-2?
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to see. It's sideways. They have it sideways in their.
They can do like the Office where I forget who it was. Like Andy Bernard's constantly turning his computer to be able to see Aaron because she can't figure out how to twist the screen.
Yeah. No, it does not.
Okay.
But that probably won't be a hard thing to look up here afterwards.
Anybody interested in betting? Maybe look into that because if it's always the same score or something.
Oh yeah. With oh my god. What is when did they play 11v9?
There was a game where someone had 2 red cards.
11 versus 11, 11 versus 10, 11 versus 9. 11 versus 9, Vancouver's 1-0-0.
Wow. Wait, so I know you usually put these out, and I just haven't seen it yet. But is there any notable referees in this game that we need to make note of?
Guido Gonzalez Jr. is the referee for Saturday. If I'm not mistaken, give me 1 second here.
because we're about like I know at least for 2, maybe 3 games this season already at home where the whole stadium's chanted "Fu ref" with the actual F word, which is like remarkable. I'm surprised the front office hasn't like come out and said like, "Hey, tone down the vulgarity," but I love it. I think it's hilarious. But I'm just like, is it one of those referees? Should we expect some shenanigans? Are we okay on that?
Hang on, and I will tell you, because if I'm not mistaken, Guido Gonzalez Jr. was the match official for Crew Miami in Miami.
Oh, well, there were
Nope,
definitely.
I lied. That was Rosendo Mendoza, but he was a referee recently.
Probably the Nashville game where we did
No,
chant. Well, I didn't chant it.
are you sure?
I can neither confirm nor deny
You can neither
what I was
confirm nor
saying.
deny the fact that
What I was saying at that given time, but I know that
he was definitely a referee recently for a match of ours.
hopefully it was a very well refed match.
San Jose game, the San Jose match.
Oh, wait,
Which
the
was
San Jose one I don't really remember. Like, if there's anything too crazy.
It was April 24th.
Oh, that was a while ago. Okay.
Yeah, it was definitely a long time ago. But yeah, he was there. He did okay. I don't think he gave out any cards or anything, but yeah.
Well, I don't expect them to be a lot of cards on, like, especially if you get like Tristan Brown or somebody in the game and they get knocked down. I don't think they don't have, it better be, they're going to need like a true foul to be, to be clear and obvious, because I just don't think that a lot of those players are going to have the cachet to be able to just get cards or penalties called. So that's something to keep an eye on, I guess, overall.
Oh yeah. I don't know if you saw Goosebumps kits this week. This weekend.
I am going to a music festival this weekend, and I will be wearing my Goosebumps kit on the Saturday. And 2 years ago, when I went to this music festival, we're talking, I don't even know how many people are there like daily, but out of the crowd on the Saturday, way in the distance, we saw a guy wearing a Cucho jersey. And I thought, no freaking way. There's a dude here wearing a Crew Cucho jersey. This is sweet. And then we like lost sight of him for a little bit. And then I would say like 20 minutes later, we went up to like a like beverage stand like next to the main stage. And sure enough, he was literally right next to us. And we had like a full convo about the Columbus Crew. So I'm excited to see if I see any other people wearing the Goosebumps kit or just our yellow ones. And there's a live stream. So if you decide to watch it on Hulu this weekend and you happen to see somebody, hopefully there's like a lot of lasers and black lights and stuff, at some thing that they're broadcasting that I happen to be at, and you can really see the Goosebumps kit, it's me. Hopefully,
Hey,
it
there
better
you
be
go.
me. It might be someone else, but I will be wearing it, so it's a good chance it's me. So I'll be there in support. I will be probably at some point watching it on my phone somewhere, because we watched the USA game, and then we had a whole herd of people like come up behind us and start watching the USA game last time we went on one of our phones. So you never know.
Well, there you go. So safe to say you won't be at the game Saturday.
I will not be at the game on Saturday,
God
unfortunately.
damn it.
This was planned out way in advance. Now we're hitting the summer
Okay.
stretch where, outside of like a vacation that I have coming up, I will be, I don't even know if they play at home during that stretch actually, but you'll see me at pretty much every home game because I don't have a lot of like plans outside of Columbus during that time, which I'm very excited for. So Sabrina is asking what music festival. Bonnaroo, actually, down in Tennessee.
Oh shit! Is that this weekend?
No.
Oh,
I leave
wow.
at 2:00 in the morning, so my sleep will be very minimal this evening.
Jesus.
But
Wait, you
I'm not
leave at 2
driving.
tomorrow?
Yeah,
Oh shit. Okay.
it's like
well
an
then.
8-hour drive or something. But
Yeah.
I will not be driving, so I'll probably be sleeping.
Oh, well then there you go. Fair enough. Sick. Derek, before we get off of here, prediction time.
I'm gonna go with a 2-2 tie.
Oh, and Derik makes it 7 winless for the Columbus Crew.
Well, you started telling me some of those stats that they got so far, and it really got me thinking, like, I don't know, the team we're putting out, I would like it to certainly not be a tie. I would like us to win, but I'm going to stay conservative with it, especially with Vancouver being, in really good form outside of that CONCACAF final. But yeah, I'm going to go 2-2. I'm going to say Gazdag's going to score because I won't be watching, periodically in and out. But I feel like that's just like the time that someone, like, I forget, like a year or two ago, I wasn't watching one game and Kucha scored a hat trick. And I was like, of course, the game I couldn't watch, he scored a hat trick.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe we'll finally get that. I'm going to put that out into the universe. That's one bold prediction I'm going to make, is he's finally going to get one in. And we're all going to take a collective sigh of relief, at least when it comes to that topic.
Yes, because my word.
Yeah,
I have to
we can all take a breather on
Twitter. Jesus Christ.
We're gonna have to start muting his name if we get a few more games of him not scoring a goal, strictly just to stay out of the conversation.
Jesus Christ. So you're saying 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably gonna go 2-1 Vancouver.
I don't think that's like the worst pick by any means.
Yeah. I just think Sorensen has done so well so far with this team. Brian White is practically unstoppable. And I just think we still have a couple holes to fix in our back line. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, for sure.
It's one of those things where it's like, let's look at previous matches before this break and see what's happening. Vancouver's on the rise. Columbus is on the fall. Why are they on the fall? It's because our defense has leaky holes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it continues. So I'm going to say 2-1 Vancouver to make it 7 winless for the Columbus Crew as well. 4-1, and damn, that's a Gerald prediction right there.
That's true though. This would be a great redemption game if Nico comes out and is just like, a brick wall and nobody can get anything past him. I would love to see that, because we've seen flashes of him being really good. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that Miami game was the polar opposite of that.
Yes.
Some of it on him, some of it on the back line.
Yep.
But in general, it would definitely be nice to see, regardless of the outcome, if he does a really good job. And even if you go in, but they're not necessarily on him, I would feel good about that, because I don't know how long, Patrick's going to be out, what kind of the future is. He's been a target by some teams. We got to see what we've got.
Yeah. Other than that, any final thoughts, my friend?
No, I could not be any less excited for, the Club World Cup. I mean, for various reasons. Obviously, I was already not excited once they didn't put us in, but I'm seeing a lot of chatter about lowering ticket prices and stuff. And I kind of was laughing to myself, thinking like, oh, that's terrible, because I'm not looking at them, and I would have been otherwise, but I don't care if they're $4. I'm not going to a game now.
Yeah.
But that, and then just, we don't have to just completely drive a topic into the ground. But when it comes to like the U.S. national team, it's just the hottest of messes. And I don't know.
Is Gold Cup this week?
No, because our guys who were on national team are back. Well, I don't know about that.
No. Gold Cup, June 15th through July 7th.
Oh, so Russell Rowe will not be there, because he's on
Russell
Canada,
Rowe will not be there. Hagen will not be there.
No, wait.
Well, he's with Guatemala.
So Evan Bush probably.
Evan.
Okay, we'll see what Evan's got left.
Bush with Romero. Abraham Romero got called up. Got called up not too long ago.
That's right.
Called back.
Wow, look
So
at that. We didn't even think about that. Okay. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't
so
I think Evan Bush has still got enough gas in the tank to to put out, a good performance. Like I know he's a little bit up there in age when it comes to keepers and everything, but
Connor's right. Jason didn't get called up to Canada.
he didn't? I thought he
No.
did. Or he just was he practicing with them? Am I wrong on that? I thought he did.
I don't remember.
Wow. Okay.
But
Well,
yeah,
now we're back to Jason's on our team. Great. Look at that swing of the pendulum here in the past 30 seconds.
right.
Okay, so maybe not as bad. Hagen not being there is not great, but we could get
So
through
wait,
that.
now the question is those CONCACAF Gold Cup, hang on. USA roster.
Max played last night. Now, a lot of people online said he didn't play very well,
For
supposedly, but the whole team didn't.
2025 Gold Cup.
Yeah, we didn't even factor in Max not playing.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, Max isn't there.
So Tristan Brown will definitely be playing.
2025 Gold Cup roster. So USA, Chris Brady from Chicago, Matt Freese from New York City, Matt Turner from Crystal Palace, Max Arfston. Sebastian Berhalter will not be.
Not mad about that. I don't want to say that's like a 1-for-1.
Brian White will not be there.
Oh, wow. Okay, so let's see.
This is just an absolute. This is just going to be a nothing draw.
I love how we're breaking like old news to ourselves, right?
I know, right?
We went through all of that. Okay,
Just
well, you know what? Maybe the crew could win. Who knows now? I mean, it's shifting maybe a little. It feels a little bit more possible. How about that?
I can see that. Yes, that it's definitely
okay. So is Gazda, because he got called up to his national team. Now I don't remember which national team he plays for, though. I got to be honest.
Hungary.
So they're not. They don't play in the Gold Cup.
No, they're not CONCACAF.
And do they have any other games or anything? He's back. I don't even know why I'm asking this. I read this. Somebody who was at practice today posted that he was back already and playing, but he was the only one practicing out of the ones that had been out with their countries and were already back.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know who all the other ones were off the top of my head, but he's back. Care to predict again? 1-1 draw, maybe plus or minus 1 for everybody.
I'm probably gonna go 1-0 Columbus now.
Okay, I like that. You know what? I will go 1-0 Columbus also in solidarity, and I'm gonna stick by the Gazdag goal.
Okay.
Herrera didn't get called up. Did he? I have no idea.
What happened?
Connor's asking if Herrera got called up.
Cape Verde. I have no idea because I don't think they play in CONCACAF. Mexico, Panama, El Salvador, Suriname.
Crazy how Nostroza was in the Colombia roster. Yeah, there were some definitely weird ones I saw called up where I'm like, huh?
I don't think Steven got called up because he was.
Did you say no? How did he not get called up?
Well, I know that he got hurt in Charlotte.
Oh, so he may still be ouchie. Okay.
And he played against Nashville, played against Miami, but he played I think it was limited minutes.
I mean, against Miami, they should have yanked everybody.
They should have pulled everybody.
Use every sub and then ask for a few more. Just get some playing time for some people who need it.
Hang on, let me just look this up really quick. Google.com Cape Verde soccer.
Yep, Amundsen's out 2 to 4 weeks, of course.
Yep.
That's brutal news.
Cape Verde. That's 23 and 24, which we don't need. Right?
Right.
I have no idea.
Playing time with Ukraine. Oh, I didn't know that. Chibriko got called up and did playing time.
Yeah, he was with Ukraine.
There was a lot of people called up, way more than I was taking note of.
Look, man, I'm gonna just stick with 1-0, and I'm just call it a day.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just calling it a day.
Whatever the roster looks like when it comes out, it doesn't matter. Gazdag's going to score the goal. We're all going to be happy, and we're not going winless in 7 games. And I want
we can all finally say, hey, there's the Daniel Gazdag we know.
I want Sunshine Brigade all over the interwebs that night.
Now you know damn well
that ain't gonna happen. Yeah,
nope, it's not.
It's about time if he doesn't score 5 more goals in the next game. Something, whatever, or we'll find something else that we'll target on that we're annoyed about. Someone played terribly, even though we played well.
Yep, that's exactly how it is.
We got 45-year-old Evan Bush out there. Why can't we have a good goalkeeper? Whatever, there's always something.
Oh man! Imagine if Romero actually starts.
That would kind of be a good redemption too, because he started since that disaster game.
Yeah, he started against.
Only like 1 game though, right?
Yeah, but we won.
Okay, well, so he already had redemption games. So never mind.
I can't remember who it was because he. Who was it? Did he play Leagues Cup final? No, Nico did.
Yeah.
There was a match where where Romero started, and he was clapping along to the chant, if you ever want to clap your hands.
That's funny.
There was a video of it on Twitter.
Okay. You know what? Romero's got a little spice to him, and I like this.
He actually really does.
I like that a lot. Okay. You know what? I want him to start. Evan Bush, I love you, but you're kind of like the keeper's coach now. So Romero's performance, I will put on you versus Romero because you could take the heat. I don't know about Romero, but he's clapping along, giving the sass to everybody. We like this.
Giving the sass. Apparently, he was doing very well with Colorado spring switchbacks. Because when Colorado announced that he got recalled, everybody in the comments was like, thank you for doing so well with us and whatnot.
Oh, okay.
I was like,
His first game with Colorado Springs, he got a red card. Well, it's good to know he's consistent.
It's good.
His first game with any team he's playing with, consistency. And you know what? That's what we're looking for, right? We want. We were saying it earlier. I mean, we want good consistency, but I mean, he's just got to get it out of his system, and he's already done it here, so we don't have to worry about it. That's what I'm telling you.
Hey, Manuel, that's an insult to Abraham Romero. He is not our Andre Onana. Gee, I cannot stand Onana. Anyways, if you guys have watched on YouTube, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell for post notifications whenever we go live, post new content. If you guys are listening on audio on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, iHeart, Pocket Cast, Overcast, we want to thank you guys for listening all the way to the end. Please be sure to rate, review the show. Thank you for watching also on Goals TV. If you guys want to, you guys can follow us on social media on Twitter at Wiseman Pod, on Instagram at the Wiseman Say Podcast. You guys can follow Derek on social media
at Funky Moses 17.
You guys can follow me on social media at Fisher Tyler __. You guys can also follow Gerald at Gerald _Lucas 96 on Twitter. And I think that's it. I would say Gerald, but Derek, my friend, Ash Edition goes, Wiseman say.
Only fools rush in.
Peace out, everybody. Have a good week. Stay safe, stay hydrated, stay cool. Hug your loved ones. Go Crew.
Go Crew.